Nice place, isn't it? I used to spend a lot of time here. Family picnics on the 4th of July, watching the kids play ball, walking the dog. Not anymore, especially at night. You know, 2 teenagers were murdered here last year, right here. Then there's those drug and sex parties. You read about them all the time. I don't know how many rapes, robberies, muggings. Nope. No, it's just not safe anymore for your ordinary citizen. Hey, that's me, by the way. Your ordinary citizen. You know, the man on the street, the average Joe, John Q. Public. The guy nobody listens to anymore. What the history books call the common man. Yeah, that's me, the common man. I speak for all of you. Oh, I know. That takes in a lot of territory. But somebody has to, huh? You can't trust the higher-ups to do it for you. Okay, I'm the wrong sex, the wrong color, the wrong age. Hey, but we're all human, aren't we? I mean, we could share that. Hey, I'll tell you something else we all share. We're scared. We're scared of each other.
I'm afraid of my neighbors and the things that neighbors say. They know what time I come home and they know when I'm away. I'll bet they know my income and how my money's spent. And I know that you can't trust no one and they're no different.
Man's first fear is his fear of war. His second fear is his fear of crime. 1/3 of the American people are afraid to walk out at night alone in their own neighborhoods. 70% of the American people feel that law and order is broken down. And yet, only 1/2 of the crimes that are committed are reported to the police. And of those, 20% result in an arrest. And of those, only 20% result in a conviction on the charges. Where are you, Thomas Jefferson, now that we need you? You brought forth a plan to punish the guilty and protect the rights of the innocent, and you called it a system for criminal justice in a free society. Would you recognize it if you saw it now? On the other hand, not even Citizen Jefferson could have envisioned the society his criminal justice system would eventually be serving. A society of over 200 million people, 86 million automobiles, a television set in every home. 70% of the people in this country crowded into the cities. 12% living in poverty. 7% working for their own government. And a society that has recently come down with a bad case of the shakes. No, if Citizen Jefferson were here, he'd probably tell us common men to take a good look at his system. And maybe even to take a good, hard look at ourselves. It's a good idea. Let us begin.
This is where my car used to be. First it was the hubcaps, and then the whole thing. I even got a witness, but he won't talk. He says he doesn't want to get involved, but it's really because he's afraid of what'll happen to him if he does. The cops? Yeah, they're too busy handing out tickets or giving those young punks a slap on the wrist. You know, you don't see them around here protecting people's property. No. That doesn't happen. I even have to walk my wife home every night from the bus stop because she's scared to walk home by herself. And I'm paying those guys' salaries. You see this uniform? That's a law, brother. And I respect that, even if some people don't. There ain't enough of us to go around. We're supposed to protect people from rape, robbery, muggings, reckless driving. We're also supposed to break up family arguments, take care of drunks, stop drugs, rescue cats, handle parades in traffic, close down dirty bookstores, and be Johnny on the spot when somebody calls. Oh, yeah, and you better be looking the other way when it's Mr. Big Shot. Hey, what do you want from me, huh? We got the law and order people on one side, the do-gooders on the other. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Listen, I put my life on the line every day from the minute I hit the street. All right. Now, look, I don't mind that. If it means I could stop some 12-year-old kid from getting into trouble, or maybe stop some storekeeper from getting ripped off. But look, I'm human, too. How do you think I feel when some guy I caught in the act gets off, when some sharp lawyer gets a hold of him, huh? Look, all I can do is catch him. Somebody else is supposed to make sure they're punished. People expect me to be some kind of Perry Mason. And what I am is an advocate. My responsibility is to make sure my client gets everything he's entitled to under the law. Now, that's his constitutional right. And if you're ever in court, believe me, you're going to want everything you've got coming. Now, that means postponing your trial if we need more time to prepare your case, find our witnesses, or if the prosecutor's witnesses aren't very patient. That means selecting jurors who are most likely to be sympathetic to your case. It also means bargaining for leniency or a reduced charge if you're guilty. And you want to know something? If it weren't for plea bargaining, if every guilty client stood trial, the whole system would collapse under its own weight in about 2 months. That's the way it is. Ask any judge. My job is to preside over criminal proceedings, interpret the law, and impose a just sentence on the guilty. That's what I'm sitting on this bench for. Sometimes I feel like I'm presiding over a traffic jam. The police send me people who don't really belong here. The defense attorney and the prosecutor look on me as some kind of a negotiable item in a bargaining session. And the public expects me to protect them by putting away every lawbreaker in prison for as long as possible, until one of them is accused of a crime. Everyone complains about continuances. But how can I possibly handle over 100 hearings a day if I don't rely on the lawyer's recommendations? We need more help, more support. What we don't need are more people in this court. Hey, will somebody tell me what's going on? I've been in here for 5 weeks now. I got a wife and family. What's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to my job? Look, all I want is a trial. I want a chance to tell my side of the story to a judge, and I can't get to see him. I'm sitting in here like some common, ordinary criminal just because I picked a fight with a guy in a bar, and I can't get to talk to the judge. I can't pay a lawyer. I can't even raise my bail. Oh, yeah, the guys in here keep telling me that the longer I wait, the better it is. Better for the lawyer, maybe. Will somebody tell me what's going on, huh? Please? People call this place a school for crime. I also hear a lot of talk about prison reform and wasting the taxpayers' money because so many of the inmates are repeaters. Well, what do they expect? How many of those people would be willing to give an ex-con a job? How many of them would be willing to help him get a new start in life? Better yet, how many of them would be willing to support extra money for new prisons? This place is over 100 years old. No, they just want to put the criminal away so they don't have to think about it. But we simply don't have room for everybody who commits a crime. And we'd be a lot better off if we started thinking about things like what really is a crime and who's really dangerous to society. Yeah, but nobody wants to think about that either.
What is a crime? Who is a criminal? How do we know? They seem simple enough questions.
Where have you been? Where were you?
I was working. I had to work late.
Mm-hmm. You never do a damn thing around here. The garbage can has maggots in it before it gets out with you. I'm talking to you. People do not live like this. Pigs live like this. You cannot hold a job. You're a real man. Like something to eat? Soak a little of the liquor up? Did you hear me? How much money have you got in your pocket? Because they're turning the phone off. I need $30. Answer me! I need it by tomorrow. Got $30? I said, do you have $30? Or making me crazy and nuts and I... You are filth! Just sit. Sit and sit. And you can't even work. You're not even good for that. I hate you! You're good for nothing. You don't even make any money. Sit there like a passive...
Just leave me alone.
Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm not gonna leave you alone. I hate you. I want you out. I want you gone. I hate this. You are filth. Do you hear me? I hate you. What are you doing?
Item. The risk of being attacked by a stranger on the street is far less than commonly believed. The FBI estimates that in 2/3 of violent crime cases, the criminal and the victim know each other. Very often, they are members of the same family.
It seems to me right now our system should be asking itself, and we the people who are the fundamental part of the system, have got to ask ourselves whether or not we want to redefine the substance of criminal law.
Now, the criminal law is really a way in which people who are in power can exercise penal sanctions against those they don't like. And that means when I'm in power, and I'm in power just as other people of my background and my race and my economic class are in power, there are certain things we don't like. So we make that a violation of the criminal law if people do those things. And then we command police officers and prosecutors to prosecute and to try to put in jail people that violate those particular laws that we don't like, even though some of those laws may not hurt anyone.
There's been a tradition in America to think that the criminal law can control self-injurious and moralistic behavior of drinking, gambling, sexual excesses and consensual proclivity. They're generally things which are wicked or fattening or immoral. But this reliance has not been matched by any success in controlling those types of behavior. The effect has been to overload the system, to press towards giving the police the job of enforcing the unenforceable, to create crime, to fund organized crime. And it's been a distraction and a false priority.
Yeah, Jake. What's up, Jake? How you doing? Okay. a good word?
Oh, nothing much. Nothing much going on.
What you got in the bag?
Oh, I got a TV dinner in here.
It doesn't look like a TV dinner.
Oh.
Some TV dinner.
Yeah.
It looks pretty nice.
Quantity there.
It's really clean, man. No
Yeah?
stems.
How much is it going for?
25.
How many
25?
shots in that?
About 5.
About 5?
5 for 25?
Yeah.
That's steep.
Yeah,
Is it any
it
good?
Oh, this is really good, man. This is
I
real
got some
fire.
papers. What's the twist?
No, man, it's all right, man. It's already twisted.
Oh, look, he comes all prepared.
Have a light?
Get all right.
Yeah, I got one. Clear that
It's really
thing,
good
clear
stuff,
it.
man. It's Colombian.
Well, we'll see. I'll get a buzz. It's good.
Smells pretty good.
Yeah, I can smell it.
Smells like Colombia.
It's good.
Yeah.
Item. 1/2 of all arrests in this country are for victimless crimes.
Getting a buzz. Good, man.
Crimes which do not involve violence or loss of property.
And we put too many of our resources, it seems to me, into the victimless crime, and too little intelligence into the other two types.
Last year, in the criminal division of the circuit court of this county, there were 17 judges assigned to the trial of major criminal cases. 1 chief judge and 16 trial judges. And last year, there were a total of 8,191 major criminal indictments that were pending in this court. And a simple mathematical computation will tell you that no 17 judges can try that number of cases within any reasonable time period.
Item. Street crime in America is essentially an urban crime, committed by boys and young men. Most of the victims are those who can afford it least, the poor and the black.
We have decided in a whole series of periods of time what it is we will call criminal. Now, if we want to say that street crime is the type, the basic category of criminal law, then we will get people who commit street crime into our institutions and into our system.
What about equality? Do more people of one type or another type end up in prisons or end up being
Every
punished by the
country
law?
in the world, the underclass disproportionately is represented, the poor, the minorities.
Why is
and,
that?
Well, first of all, of course, they commit more crime, which is a very powerful reason. Secondly, the criminal justice system as we built it in our cities is a racially and class discriminatory system. It's not only that it sits upon inequity, but it exaggerates the inequity.
One only has to attend one of our penal institutions to find out the color of skin is very different between those who are doing the guarding and those who are guarded. So I suppose we could conclude from a very brief survey of the criminal justice system and say that minorities and poor people are overrepresented.
I don't have any statistics to back it up. I rather imagine, and I have reason to believe, since I do live in a black community, that police officers in a black community have a tendency to call and to act with a faster in a stress situation than they do in a white community. In other words, they call it closer in a black community than they do in the white communities. I've seen in our courts, to use one example that I think is an outrageous example and that thankfully is not the rule. I've seen people sent to jail for going to a grocery store and swiping an 87-cent package of bologna and explaining to a judge that they did it because their brothers and sisters were hungry.
We will never have, in any system of law, total equality because people who enter it are not totally equal.
And the theory, at least, is that rational decisions will come out of discussions between diverse pressure groups and interest groups in the community. I think, from my perspective, there is a lack of integrated planning for an efficient criminal law. And, of course, efficient and decent. And of the two, I would put the decency above the efficiency.
Well, I think, you know, in the face of all the political corruption that's, we're dealing with today, and not only at the national level, but certainly at the local level, the fact of life is that money will always corrupt political power.
I feel that my role in the system is basically to oppose governmental overreaching. Or in other words, to be a constant source of irritation, a constant blockage, a constant wall, a constant barrier against those who seek to use governmental power to deprive individual people of their liberty.
And it is not only organized crime that is corrupting the governments and people in official positions, it is basic businessmen.
Item. The United States Chamber of Commerce estimates the cost of business-related or white-collar crime at upwards of $40 billion annually. This figure does not include the cost of price fixing.
How you, babe?
Fine, dear. How you doing?
Great.
You look absolutely relaxed.
Oh, God, I'm just thinking how unrelaxed I'm going to be when the kids get here.
Do you want something to eat before they come?
Yeah. No, I'll wait for them. I think I'll wait for them. I like to eat with the kids.
Well, I got some roast beef, some salami. Will you barbecue some hot dogs?
Oh, God, do I have to do that?
Yeah.
Won't you do it for me? I'm so lazy today. I really don't feel like doing anything.
No, I'll give you that nice apron I bought you for Father's Day. And it'll say barbecue
God,
king.
you gotta say Grandfather's Day now. My God.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
You know, I know something? For a grandma, you look pretty terrific.
It's because I work at it. Got a good husband, takes good care of me.
You betcha, you betcha.
Item. In one state alone, the bill for all government purchases dropped an estimated 40% after the discovery and prosecution of businessmen and government officials for bribery and kickbacks.
See, I put it back on.
So you use this part of your finger.
Oh, you're too smart for me. You're just too smart. Yeah.
There's Mr. Stoller on the phone for you.
Okay, but here's the deal. It's 200 thou on the bid, 5 thou under the table ahead. Listen, you gotta give to get. Business is business.
Just all dried off no, so you've been a mwah. Big girl, big girl.
Where's my little girl?
Oh,
Here she is.
they are.
Hi, how are you? Fine, good to see you.
Hi, Mom.
We have to recognize the fact that it will always be extremely difficult to reach people who are protected by power. And I think what our system has got to do has got to pay attention to the people who are coming from the grassroots level, saying, we want accountability from the system, and we want an open system that is accountable.
Are those from the garden here?
Yeah.
Do you remember the plastic flowers?
Sure.
Remember the plastic flowers that your grandmother used to have? You remember that?
Right. She used to spray them with that room deodorizer to make them seem real. I remember that.
I only remember those. If I remember her for anything, it will be for the plastic flowers. This is going to be a beautiful...
During the course of this program, you've witnessed 4 crimes. 1 cost a human life. 1 cost fear and suffering. 1 costs some moral discomfort. And 1 will keep costing, with a higher price or a higher tax bill. But most of all, with another reason to distrust each other and our system of justice for all. Which of these crimes is most dangerous to society? How should we allocate our resources to deal with them? Where would you put the priorities? Until the common man asks himself these questions, there can be no answers for the reform of our non-system criminal justice system.
Oh, what a group.
I'm afraid of the power that I hold in the firm. I'm afraid of all the bribery so difficult to spurn. But when I plead my case in court, I'll be so penitent. And I know that when the judge gives a verdict, he'll treat me lenient.